Welcome to Hire Navigate Your Job Search. Just want to let everybody know that we are streaming from live from Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. And then by Saturday afternoon, we're edited and we're uploaded to all the podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Here at Hired, we like to take one particular topic, bring in a subject matter expert, and really go deep in some of the questions to help you land your next role quicker and faster than you would without the opportunity or the knowledge. I want to bring in our subject matter expert today, Joe Apfelbaum. And before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about the story of how I met Joe. I, like most people, got connected to Joe, and I was actually traveling, visiting one of our facilities out in New Jersey, and I said, I'm pretty close, and he was out in Brooklyn, so I got in the car, of course, through the worst time to get into traffic going into the cities, and took me about an hour, but had a great meeting with Joe, and he's really a great wealth of knowledge. Joe is the CEO of Ajax Union. He's also a digital marketing agency and supporting B2B companies with market funnels, and also a LinkedIn trainer. So welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see how many people are live right now. So if you are live, give us a shout out in the comments. Let us know where in the world you're dialing in from.
That's a
George, I'm
great
excited
idea.
to be here.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit more about what your company does for either individuals or other businesses?
Yeah, so Ajax Union is a B2B digital marketing agency. So what we do is we work with companies that have usually a marketing department or a sales team, and we help them be able to come with a better strategy to get more qualified leads from digital marketing. Most companies, they have a website, and they're hoping that people will come to their website. But hope is not a great strategy. What you need is a marketing funnel. So if you go to ajaxunion.com, we actually have a funnel webinar where we teach people what the marketing funnel is, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and how the funnel works with the strategy. And then for companies that need us to help them execute their marketing funnel by creating email automations, by creating email logic, by setting up technologies, by doing search, social, and email to drive traffic, by creating lead magnets, that's what we do. Typically, our companies are business-to-business companies that require nurturing for their leads in order for them to be able to become clients. We also do LinkedIn training. We started a company 3 years ago called Evergreen Networking, and our company teaches how to leverage LinkedIn. This year, we started also teaching artificial intelligence, and we've trained over 1,000 people on how to use LinkedIn and how to use artificial intelligence over the past 3 years. And we also developed a software. So we started a new company this year called Evy AI, EVYAI, and we are helping people have a voice with artificial intelligence. So it's a plugin for LinkedIn that you can use. If you go to evyai.com, you can download it, and it's free to try it out. And we help people be able to write comments and write posts. I'm about to post something on LinkedIn now, and I'll post it in the comments of this video that we're watching about you, like a snapshot that my tool created about you.
That's great. As a matter of fact, there is a lot of great content that Joe is posting on a daily basis that helps you and your business. I can know that there's a Tip Tuesday that gets emailed out every Tuesday. Look forward to those as well. So if you're not connected to Joe, I strongly suggest reaching out and connecting. So Joe, getting and jumping right into the topic, can you share some insights into why self-marketing and utilizing social media are crucial for job seekers in today's competitive landscape?
Yeah, so the first thing that somebody does when they're looking for you, looking about you, they get their resume, they look at the resume, maybe they Google you, right? That's the first thing they do. Have you guys Googled yourself? In the comments, let me know yes or no. I've Googled myself. If most people have not Googled themselves in the past 30 days, if you're looking for a job, what you need to do is you need to look at what other people are going to look at. Just like you look in the mirror before you leave your house, you have to look in the mirror, look on Google to see what you look like. So if you haven't Googled yourself recently, Google yourself. If you haven't LinkedIn yourself recently, LinkedIn yourself. Search yourself on LinkedIn. Most people are not doing that. And if you're not doing that, then you don't even know what's out there. Now, if you do that and you don't have good things about you, maybe you have some lawsuit that you had, or maybe you have somebody else that had a lawsuit or some issues about accusations about things that are unfavorable, then what you want to do is you want to do something called reputation management, which means you want to create profiles for yourself online and start filling it with information that are relevant to your industry, to your expertise, to the role that you want, and make sure that all your profiles are optimized nicely. And now with artificial intelligence, you can click a button and get all the information about you created in a very professional way. So I highly recommend you look at yourself. That's the first step in order to know what to do on social media.
Oh, I like that. Um, Next question, what are some common mistakes that job seekers often make when it comes to presenting themselves on social media platforms during job search?
Well, the most common mistakes is that they basically just spray and pray. What they're doing is they're just submitting their resume to 1,000 places. You submitting your resume to as many places as possible might be a good way for you to get some responses, but it's not going to be the way that you're going to get your job. The way that you're going to get your job is you're going to custom tailor your resume so that people that want to hire you for the specific job role that you're looking for will find you. They'll find you because robots are now reading your resume. So you need to speak to people like George and other people that understand how the robots read your resume, and make sure that your resume is written in a way that the robots won't just automatically filter you because you sent an image and it looks like you sent nothing. You have to be able to send the right type of information through the systems in order to get through and use all the right keywords. So understanding how technology works and understanding how to apply to specific jobs, and then understanding how also to use networking. One of the biggest mistakes are that people are not networking and building relationships and not telling people that they are looking for a position. They're like, oh, if I tell people I'm going to look weak, I'm going to be vulnerable. Well, vulnerability is actually power, it's strength.
Right.
You want to be able to share with people that you're looking for something because that's how you're going to actually get the job. If I didn't tell anybody that I'm looking for clients, if I didn't tell anybody that I have a new software tool, even if it's the best software tool in the world, no one will listen to it. So I come on podcasts like this and I let people know, hey, my name's Joe Apfelbaum. I'm the CEO of Ajax Union. We do marketing. I teach people how to use LinkedIn. I teach job seekers how to use artificial intelligence. We have a tool that helps you comment on LinkedIn and stay top of mind. There are thousands of people that are looking to hire right now on LinkedIn, but you just have to stay top of mind with them, build a relationship, have a conversation with them, learn about what they're looking for, and see if you're a good fit.
I love it, and I know that, I'm going to throw a curveball here, but it was it yesterday or the day before you just posted a topic about posting too often, right? And I think your recommendation was posting at least every 3 hours.
Yeah, well, I don't know that at least every 3 hours. I do recommend everyone post at least once a day, if not once a week. But you don't want to be posting more frequent than 3 hours, because if you post more frequent than 3 hours, often one post will kind of overlap with another post. So the latest post is the post that will get the most exposure, but that exposure doesn't last forever. It only lasts for a few hours. And so after a few hours, it doesn't really matter. If you didn't get any likes or comments on your post anyway, it's not really going to matter. So I did repost the video that you put up there. I went to your profile. I click on view all activity. It showed me all your posts. And then I clicked on repost, the repost button. So if you guys want to check that, there's no other way to really repost this video other than to do that. So if you guys want to learn a tactic on how to repost content, that's, let's say, a live video, if you want people in your network to see it live, try that. Go to George's profile, click on his face, then click on view all posts, and all his recent posts will come up as all activity. Then there's going to be 4 buttons under that post. It'll say like, comment, repost. When you click on the repost button, you can repost with thoughts or just plain repost. Just hit plain repost. Right now, there's only one repost, but people can see who reposted. So that gives you a little bit extra exposure. So I recommend you guys repost, and I also recommend you leave a comment. So just leave a comment right now saying awesome or cool. And this way, the amount of comments on the post will kind of go up in the amount of comments that go up, which will also send this post a little bit further. And also, it'll give you exposure, because the people in your network will notice that you comment and that you're active and that you're real. And recruiters and leaders are looking for people that are real. They're not looking for just lurkers, people that are just lurking online. So show us that you're real today and leave a comment.
I like that. How can job seekers effectively tailor their social media profiles to showcase their skills and experience to align with their desired roles?
Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a clear outline of what the desired role is written down and organized nicely. That's number one. So if you don't have a clear outline, then you're not, it's not really going to work. Then what you want to do is you want to find job descriptions online that are ideal job descriptions that detail all the different things related to the role. So a lot of the times it'll be competencies that are there. A lot of the times there'll be other information about that specific role. And you want to be able to collect those job descriptions so that you can get your profiles in line or get your overview in line with those job descriptions. And then what you want to do is you want to write a separate cover letter for each one of those job descriptions. And you don't have to write it yourself. You can have AI write it. So you can tell AI, this is who I am, this is what I'm good at, and this is the job description that I'm looking. Write a custom tailored cover letter for that particular job description. And you could even custom tailor the first part of your resume to match that particular job description. And what will end up happening is you'll be able to create a custom resume and a custom cover letter for each one of those job descriptions. And you'll include exactly what the person needs to see in order for them to say, wow, this is the best candidate. And that doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you're not going after 1,000 companies. Maybe you want to go after a dozen companies per week and go a little bit deeper and try to get introductions to those companies instead of trying to spray and pray.
I do like that. As a matter of fact, when we're in job transition, which I've experienced as well, so I can definitely relate, you know, all the friends and everything else are working, so they're busy. So it can be very, very isolated. And you can find things like this, what I call it your personal assistants. AI can help you a tremendous deal, help you write posts, right? Help you rewrite your resume based on the job description. It's a very powerful tool, I think, for any individual that's struggling. And again, when we're out there, you know, and not having any income, you are always looking for the opportunities that, don't cost so much, but also give us the biggest return on our time or our effort.
100%. Finding those revenue generating opportunities or job finding opportunities, the ones that are going to give you the best ones, those are the ones that you really want to be able to take advantage of. So using a tool like Evie AI can really help you out. I'm going to post a link to the tool inside the comments of this video so you guys find it, www.evyai.com. Try it out. It helps you write posts and comments and things like that on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I found that really helps a lot of job seekers is actually posting on LinkedIn on a regular basis. Because if you have connections on LinkedIn, those connections will find you. And if those posts are related to the expertise, the things that you know about, you're a much better candidate than someone that never posts because they don't show that they have expertise. You want someone that seems like they have a lot of expertise. That's what you want. You don't want someone who is just a quiet person, who hides behind the scenes, who doesn't really have any expertise, who's just minimum wage. There's nothing wrong with minimum wage, but you can show with a couple of clicks how you actually have the expertise to get paid even more and to get an even better job.
Oh, that's good advice. Could you provide examples of individuals who successfully use social media to enhance their job search and personal brand? What did they do differently?
Well, number one is they shared video about themselves. So most people are afraid of doing video. When you share a video of you talking, you become real.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't willing to put themselves out there. They're not willing to get interviewed publicly. They're not willing to share their voice because they haven't developed the skill of presenting. You can go to Toastmasters and learn the skill of presenting and public speaking, but that communication skill will help you be able to be a much more effective leader. If you're looking for a higher end job, if you're looking to get hired on the higher end, you need to be a more effective communicator. The difference between someone who gets paid, let's say, 100,000 to someone who gets paid, let's say, 200,000 or 150,000 is going to be the way that they communicate. If someone communicates much, much better, then they have more value to the organization because they can be a more effective leader and they can make the company more profit. So you being a more effective communicator shows that you have more value. So when you start putting yourself out there and you learn how to be a more effective communicator by writing, by doing video, by putting pictures of yourself online, by sharing that you're actually a person of influence, influence will help you get affluence. So my recommendation is not to overshare, but to be professional and to present yourself in a way that people see you and they're like, that's the type of person that I would want in my organization. Now, some people are afraid that the organization might see that they said something that's inappropriate. So don't say something that's inappropriate.
Right.
There's a difference between sharing personal things and sharing private things. You want to share things about yourself that are personal, but you don't want to share things that are private or that make you look bad. And so, what I recommend is telling stories about your experience, about the successes. A lot of people don't write all the major things they've accomplished. I know that you have some key accomplishments on your own profile. You wrote in your previous role as vice president of global operations at supply chain at the company that you worked for. You led employees over 800 to $741 million in sales. And by the way, I had AI rewrite all your accomplishments and I posted a post about it and I tagged you. If you want to read all your key accomplishments, go to my latest post, Joe Apfelbaum, joelinkedin.com, and check out my latest post. I put a picture of me and you in this session right here. And I then had AI, I promoted this live, and then I had AI write key accomplishments that you had based on your profile. I wrote 13 key accomplishments, and all that was written while I'm talking. I just clicked a few buttons, and it basically just happened, and it got posted, and I posted a link inside this live also.
Well, that's
So,
incredible.
so I don't have to sit down and write everything up. I have AI help me do it, but I also do it in my voice. Maybe I edit it a little bit. Maybe I make it a little bit better. But people are constantly seeing me, and it gives me opportunities. If you're a job seeker or if you're in business development and you want more clients, put yourself out there more. Share more. Even in the comments right now, I don't see a lot of you commenting. I see over a dozen people here, but not a lot of you are commenting. A lot of you are going to be watching the replay of this. If you comment, we'll notice, especially if you mention us in the comments by pressing the @ sign and mentioning George. And just write, George, you are awesome. Great job. Thank you for this live. Whatever you're going to share, if you share it, if you communicate, you're much more likely to have success.
That's great advice. With so many social media platforms, and you talked about, your recent AI, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. What caused you to create that? What it benefits versus others? But how can job seekers determine which ones are most effective for their self-marketing efforts?
Well, if you want to be able to be more successful with your self-marketing efforts, find people online that inspire you. This is what I always tell people. Find people that are doing what you want to be doing, people that are inspiring you, and see what they're doing. Success leaves clues. So reverse engineer what other people are doing. If somebody out there is sharing pictures of themselves doing specific things and talking about the work that they're doing, and you're not doing that, well, put that on your list of things that you want to learn how to start doing. The other thing I want to tell people is if you really want to be successful, hire a coach. Every athlete has a coach. Every single successful person, every politician, every successful business owner, if you're really successful, the more successful you are, the more you need a coach. If you want to be able to find a really, really great job, hire a career coach to help you figure out, okay, what's wrong with my profile? What's wrong with the way that I look? And by the way, you can have free conversations with career coaches. If you're not taking them up for their 30-minute consultations, I know, George, you can drop your link. People are happy, you're happy to speak to people and have a conversation with them. So if you're looking for a job, speak to George. If you haven't read his book, get his book. If you're not reading books, I highly recommend reading books. His book is called Hired. It's on the top right corner of this presentation. He actually gave me a bunch of copies, and I gave them out to people as well. And I even wrote about it on LinkedIn. So I highly recommend speaking to people that are in the position to refer business to you, to help you be able to do what you need to do, to help you be able to get new opportunities. Highly, highly recommended to hire a coach as well.
Agreed. What roles does storytelling play? We're talking about storytelling and self-marketing through social media, and how can job seekers craft compelling narratives about their career journeys? And it's
Storytelling.
actually, I did this one, as a matter of fact, now with me being in transition, I took it off of LinkedIn, I put it on social media, a daily update, and it's just a meeting, or excuse me, 1 minute about what's going on today. What did I do? What did I accomplish? In
Well,
efforts to help people.
when you tell stories, people listen. You know, the way to get my kids to listen, I say once upon a time. And all of a sudden my kids perk up because I'm about to tell a story. When you're just sharing information, people tune out. The reason why people tune out is because they have information overload. They have enough information. They Google, they get information. There's information on the radio, there's information everywhere. But stories are unique. Most people are not telling stories. If you read the most posts, most people are not telling stories. But when a post starts with, yesterday I had the privilege to connect with blah, 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 they're telling a story. They're telling a story. So when you tell stories online instead of just sharing information, that is powerful. Sharing stories help people connect the dots. And that's what you want. You want to use a Socratic method to help people discover who you are instead of try to wonder, okay, like, who is this person? What are they about? They don't have to wonder. You know, the guy named Perry, he's a LinkedIn trainer. He's a LinkedIn sales coach. He wrote, 17 years ago, I made a decision and my life would never be the same. Now, aren't you curious to know what his decision is?
Yeah.
He writes, January 2007. It was a winter and it was dark outside. I just started reading the book, Screw It, Let's Do It by Richard Branson. And then he goes on and writes a whole entire post and he puts a picture of himself looking out into the distance. Dude, that's a great post. That's a great story. So if you tell people how you came to be who you are, that's a powerful story that you can tell over and over and over. And you might say, Joe, why would people want to hear my story over and over and over? It's kind of like watching a good movie. By the way, what's your favorite movie? Put it in the comments of this video. I'm curious to know what your favorite movie is. A movie that you watched more than once. If you've seen a movie more than once, you probably want to see an influencer more than once. You probably want to see the story of your influencer more than once. And so sharing your story more than once on social media is not a bad thing. Just because somebody read it one time, it doesn't mean that they don't want to read it again. Just like they want to watch their favorite movie. Some people said The Shawshank Redemption is their favorite movie, and they watched it 10 times.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good one. I like that one.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
Are there specific etiquette and guidelines that job seekers should follow when engaging with potential employees or industry professionals on social media platforms?
Yeah. I think that when you're connecting with people, you have to first ask them how you can add value to their life. I write about this in my book, High Energy Networking. Highly recommend reading the book if you want to network to find a new job.
Agreed.
And I always tell people, first figure out what you can do for other people. Instead of just asking what they can do for you, ask what you can do for them. It sounds like a political message. Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country, right? That's a
Right.
famous political thing. But I always tell people, try to figure out, how can I add value to your life? What can I do to make your life better? And often what you'll find is that people are happy to share with you what you can do. And when people start sharing with you what you can do, what they can do, it becomes a very powerful scenario. So highly recommend trying to figure out how you can add value to other people's life. That's really powerful.
I like that too. As a matter of fact, with all the networking of folks who are in transition, very few people actually do that. But the ones who do it well actually are ones that are be remembered well, because the thought process of rolling this out, it's like, okay, well, I know that you're out of a job, but yet you're asking me how you can help me, which also I think gives that person a little bit more confidence because, hey, I'm out, but doesn't mean that I can't add value to your life, right? I might be a CFO, I might not know an operations opportunity, but I'm looking for a controller, and you might know a couple of controllers, and it's better to know somebody already with an influence versus taking a chance of taking out of a stack of resumes and hoping for the best. Like you said, hoping, what is it?
Hope is
Pray and spray.
hope is a great thing. Hope is just not a great strategy. That's what I always tell people.
Right. LinkedIn is often considered a key platform for professional networking. What strategies can job seekers employ to maximize their presence on LinkedIn for job seeking?
Well, number one is you want to make sure that you're posting. We mentioned this earlier. Posting is really powerful. The second thing you want to make sure is that you're leaving comments. It's really easy to drop a comment. Like, try it out right now. Drop a comment. Let me know what sign you are. So I'm a Scorpio. Everybody has a sign based on when their birthday is. Write your sign in the chat. Curious to know what your sign is. Or write your number one keyword. What industry are you in? Put that in the chat. Put your industry in the chat. Go ahead, try it out. Engage. When you start engaging on LinkedIn, you start building credibility. The third thing that you want to do is you want to send messages to people. I wish everybody a happy anniversary every single day. So LinkedIn, if you go to linkedin.com/celebrations, it tells you who has birthdays, who has anniversaries, who has changes in their job roles, and so on. So you can go in there and start messaging people. I'm messaging right now with the CEO of a very large construction company. I just said, congrats on your work anniversary. That's what I said to him. And he said, thank you. And then I said, it's always good to see you. And he said, great, Joe, what can I do for you? How can I add value to your life? Because he read my book, High Energy Networking. And I replied, I'm actually looking for more users for my software, Evy AI, EVY AI, which helps me be able to use artificial intelligence together with LinkedIn. And he's like, oh my God, I've been using Evy AI and I love the way that it leaves intelligent comments. And I said, thank you so much. So you see the way I just told you guys a story? So I'm like telling you a story. I'm weaving a story into my tips. So I'm not just telling you, here are the tips. I'm telling you the story of what happened. And now you're kind of getting it. So if you want people to get it, tell stories in your posts, tell stories in your comments, tell stories in your DMs, and build those relationships. If you do that correctly, you're much more likely to be successful. The other thing that you want to do is you want to give recommendations and get recommendations on LinkedIn. A recommendation is when you see somebody on LinkedIn that you really like what they did, you're really, really good. You can click on their profile. You can click on recommend where the recommendation section is. And then you could leave them a glowing recommendation. Evy AI helps you write those recommendations. So it makes it really easy for you to just click a button and it writes up the whole recommendation for you based on what you chose, whether you worked for them or they worked for you or whatever it is. But if you're working at an organization right now, you can get all your colleagues to leave you recommendations. That is very, very good in terms of getting further on LinkedIn because testimonials go a long way. It's called social proof. So those are the things you can do on LinkedIn. The other thing that you can do is you can go ahead and make sure that you optimize your LinkedIn profile. Evy AI can help you optimize your profile. So highly recommend you take a look at some of the technologies that are out there. And thank you so much for listening, for tuning in to this podcast and for this episode. Excited to hear from you guys.
One of the viewers asked a comment stating, I post quite a bit as far as responses when somebody actually posts, but I get very little responses after I make the comment or whatever. Is there any way that I should be doing something different? I'm just kind of ad-libbing to the question, but there have been times where somebody's made a comment, you made a response comment, more than 5 or 6 words, just so that it's a real comment, right? But then you get blank responses.
Yeah, well, if you're not getting any responses, you have to ask yourself, are you telling a story? Are you telling an inspiring story? That's number one. Number two is, how often do you leave a comment on other people's posts? If you want people to leave a comment on your post, you got to be leaving comments on other people's posts as well.
Right.
So I highly recommend dropping 10, 15 comments a day on people's posts. If you're not doing that, that's a huge missed opportunity. Highly, highly recommend going ahead and doing that. The other thing that I would tell you to do is to think about, what is the call to action? Is it really easy for people to leave a comment on your posts? If you don't have a call to action, if you just write a post like, life is great or whatever, and
Right.
you didn't give people the opportunity to leave a comment or give them ideas, even in this post, I asked you, what industry are you in? By the way, when was the last time you posted on LinkedIn? Let me know in the comments. Do you see what I just did? When was the last time you posted on LinkedIn? What was the last post that you were very proud of? Go ahead and leave a link to your post in the comments below. I'm giving you guys the opportunity to promote your most recent post. So I highly recommend giving people a call to action. So if you do those 3 things, if you post a story, something meaningful, if you leave comments on other people's posts, if you also make sure that you have a call to action, if you do those 3 things, you're much more likely to be successful. And the other thing is, are you connected with people that typically engage? There are people that engage and people that don't engage. You want to find those engaged LinkedIn users and connect with them, and you'll be more likely to have comments on your posts.
I like that. As a matter of fact, I did take notes, so the next time I'm having these, I will ask questions for people to post, because I think the fact is, to your point, the more people that get to see that, then their connections see that, and maybe two or three people might find that post and they go back and review what they commented on, and they might find value in it, and they may reshare it, or they may review it, and they may comment on it as well.
Correct.
In a world where online authenticity is valued, how can job seekers balance showcasing their strengths without appearing overly self-promotional on social media?
Well, if you don't want to appear overly self-promotional, then tell stories. Features tell, stories sell. I'm selling stories right now. For example, yesterday I went to an event called the Executives Association of New York City, and I built a relationship with 7 CEOs that sat around my table. We had an amazing conversation. After that, I sent them all a follow-up message, individually, one-on-one, but also collectively. As a group, I sent them all a message for them to network with each other. And I had AI write an overview of each CEO from their LinkedIn profile about what they do, who they are, and a little synopsis of their company. It took me about 5 minutes to put together that email, just copying and pasting information, generating content, and posting it. And that got me a tremendous amount of credibility. So what I just told you, that story, if you want to be able to really stand out, tell stories like that. People love hearing stories. The better you are at telling stories, the more likely you are at being successful.
No, I agree. Can you discuss the concept of a personal brand and how job seekers can develop and showcase their unique brand identified through social media content?
If you want to be able to have a better brand, then it's about how you're perceived with the marketplace. How do people feel when they look at you? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And then you want to be able to create that emotion on social media. How do people feel when they look at you? What words would you describe? What are the words that you want people to think about when they look at you on social media? And how do you convey that? Through video, through audio, through text, through images. How do you convey that in a positive way? And the more you can convey, putting yourself out there in a way where you create an emotion for people, the better your personal brand will be, the more aligned your personal brand will be. So think about the emotion that you'd like to create within your target market, and then go ahead and start creating content that will help people feel that emotion.
Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure. Any parting thoughts, any topics that we didn't cover you think is important as it relates to social media and marketing that we
Be
didn't cover?
100% be yourself, because everybody else is already taken.
I like
So
that.
remember that
You've
you
said
be
before.
unique. Yeah, be unique. Be yourself. Just show up as you are. This is who I am. Because
Right.
ultimately, you don't want someone to hire you and think you're somebody else. So really
Hmm.
show up as yourself, and the right person will be like, I want to hire that person. I need to hire that person, because you're not going to resonate with everyone, but you'll resonate with the people that will actually want you. Yeah, some people are not going to like you, but do you want to work for someone who doesn't like who you are? For people to hire you, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. And the way to do that is for you to really be yourself. Authenticity pays off, but you have to be authentic online.
Appreciate you taking the time and jumping on the show, Joe. It's always a pleasure. I'm sure our paths will cross many more times, and we'll put you back in and we'll wrap up the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Well, there you have it. As I said, I've known Joe for a couple years now. I actually um, followed him for I think over a year before I actually reached out and connected, and he's the real deal. His company's doing great things for not only individuals but for businesses. So I actually posted his actual profile. You can go reach out. Always tell people when you reach out, make sure you tell people why you're reaching out. Don't just do the dreaded connect and not, because I don't know why, right? I don't know why we're connecting, right? But if you said, hey, I saw you on the show today, I'd really love to turn around and know more or connect, etc. At least that's a reference point. But again, here at Hired, I tell people you got to try everything, because the 3 or 4 things that are outlined in the book of 25 things might work for me, but it might not work for you. So grab a book. You can actually get it on Kindle. You can also get it on Audible as well as Amazon. And We hope you guys have a great weekend, and hopefully next week is your last week to prepare to get the offer.
Your mind will press the